I'll apologize right up front. I am battling a very bad cold right now, and my voice is going in and out these past few days, so I apologize for that. But definitely want to welcome you. So, Copilot for Professional Services, I could probably spend a couple of days straight talking to you about different things that we could do with Copilot. But today we really want to focus on some working examples of using Microsoft Copilot inside your Microsoft 365 apps, things that you have accessible to you if you have the license for Copilot. So this session is really kind of designed specifically for professional service environments, accounting, legal, advisory, those types of positions where really accuracy, judgment, and client trust really do matter. So here we'll talk about those everyday work features within Copilot that we can use, okay? Microsoft Copilot has accessibility from multiple different places. So we will be going through some different examples of using different types of workflows across Word, Outlook, Excel. We'll talk about Teams. We'll briefly talk about SharePoint and OneDrive. If you're a SharePoint document library user, there are some definite changes that are happening as we speak with SharePoint document libraries, but this emphasis is really going to be on drafting, summarizing, kind of the explaining and the organizational features that we have within Copilot. Things that we don't want to have to rework. We don't want to have to repeat when we have some consistencies. So we're going to talk about not just regular Copilot prompts, but we're going to get into a little bit on creating a prompt that can actually run when you want it to. So we'll get into a little bit of that. So when it comes to, working with Copilot, Copilot is our assistant. So it is here to help us to really be more efficient, to stay in control of what it is that we need to be working on. Everything from the first draft to a summary, it can help us with drafting emails, creating documents, comparing documents. It really can help with any reviews or validation, really based on a professional judgment. Before anything goes to a client or goes to leadership or wherever your data is going to be shared to, whether it's paper letter or it's something posted on your website. It could be used to help you with any of those. So when we talk about Copilot and professional services, it's really designed to support the way professional service firms work. You're already familiar with your Microsoft 365 apps, and this just fits right inside there. So whether you're in legal, you're in accounting environments, work is really often very heavy in documents. We work a lot with documents and deadlines, and we need to be very detail oriented. And that's where Copilot can really help us to reduce the time on the routine and repetitive tasks, such as drafting, summarizing, reviewing, and organizing your information, really allowing you as a professional to focus more on the analysis, the judgment, or the client services side of your work. So Microsoft Copilot works directly within your applications, and you'll see how that works with us here today. Okay. Now, how do we actually get into Microsoft Copilot and how does it work? Well, let's talk about first how Copilot works and the role that it's going to play. So before we kind of dive into any examples, I really think it's important to understand a little bit of the Copilot background and some newer features that we have built in, because sometimes you want to do something that isn't stored within memory, and sometimes you want the memory to help you, not hinder you. So I want to show you a couple of things behind the scenes and show you how important some of those features can actually be. So when it comes to working with Copilot within your 365, just so you know, it does have the Microsoft security. So we don't have to worry about putting confidential information on there, it's not going anywhere. So when we have Copilot analyze an Excel spreadsheet of data, or we have it look at a document that we're sending to a client, and it may have beneficiary information in it or whatnot, we don't have to worry about that being leaked to the public because it goes nowhere. It is only available within your 365 account. Copilot does not use your information to train its system. It doesn't use your information for anything. So it's only looking at it temporarily to help you with the work that you want it to do. So when we go into individual applications, I'll show you how you can get into Copilot. But first off, I want to mention we a lot of times will use Copilot by going directly to the Copilot app. So as an example, let me share my Copilot screen here. So I logged into my Microsoft account and have my Copilot open. So just a quick rundown on the screen to have you be able to take full advantage of this application. On the left-hand side, you're going to see new chat. You're going to see search capabilities. You can work in libraries. You could go to create different things like images, those kind of things. We won't get into Frontier and too much of the agents today. I'll mention agents, but you're going to have this category of different agents. And I'll mention a little bit on agents in a little bit, but then you're going to actually see the history of your chats. So this way you can always go back to a previous chat that you've had with the system to see what its response was or carry on the conversation with the system. Now, when I'm referring to Copilot itself, and we're talking about, what exactly is Copilot and how does Copilot work, it really uses this large language model where we're going to go in and we're going to ask it a question. And then the system is going to identify the contents. So we can gather information. It is going to gather information depending on if you're using work or web. If you're using work, it's going to look at your entire 365 account to find information that is related to what you're prompting it with. So AI is then going to generate a response. You're going to review the response, and then you're going to start to make changes to what you were prompting the system to get it to narrow down to what it is that you need it to do. Did I forget to say I wanted this to be written for a specific client? I want this to be in a more professional tone. I want it to be shorter. We can always go back and revise what it is that it's going to be providing to us. So what Copilot does is it uses this large language model to really have things that it is trained to know. It can go to the web, but it also is trained to go to your system. So it can look for recent documents. It can analyze anything that you have accessible to you, which, by the way, your files do have to be in the cloud. Little disclaimer there. To use Copilot, your files do have to be in the cloud. So we're referring to SharePoint, Teams, and OneDrive. So what Copilot is that assistant that can help you do the drafting, the summarizing, etc. And it's built in to your applications. And it's secure and permission based. So if you don't have rights to something, Copilot doesn't either, because it can only use what you have rights to. Okay. What Copilot is not is a replacement for human judgment. We need to keep in mind that whatever Copilot generates for a prompt answer is not always going to be accurate, and it's not always going to be to your standards of your organization. So the system that knows everything is always correct. That is what Copilot is not. And it's not a tool that's going to bypass security and privacy rules to the respect of the fact that if you have specific policies and procedures within your organization that says you should not do this, this, or this, you need to follow those policies because governance is very important. So It is not a source for your final answer without reviewing the information. So never take anything out of Copilot, just copy and paste it and use it directly from there. You really want to put your own spin on it, read it to make sure that it's fitting within your company's standards. And why this matters is because, yes, Copilot is going to be able to really give you that information. Sorry. And it does it very quickly, but it's not going to write it exactly the way that you would actually say it. So we always have to be very, very careful with that. But when it comes to using this Copilot app, one of the things that I want to mention right away is, yes, in the middle of the window, you're going to have a chat window where you can chat with the system. But you're also going to have the choice at the top of the window where you could be choosing either chatting based on your work, where it has access to your 365 account, or if you wanted to be doing research and going to the internet, you could do that as well. Now, of course, there's some assistance we can get with the internet examples as well. I'll talk about that here in a minute. But I do want to take you to the top right. At the top right, you're going to see that you have this icon for starting a brand new chat. So if you switch gears and you start talking about something else, you could always start a new chat. Every chat that you do is going to be saved in chat history. Like I said, on the left-hand side, you can always go back and review something that you had previously been chatting with. But from that drop-down arrow next to the new chat, you will have what is referred to as a temporary chat. If you do not want the chat to be saved in history, you don't have to. You could choose this temporary chat. It's going to tell you at the top, this chat will not use or create memories and will not be saved to your chat session history. So it is not going to be saved to go back to. Just so you're aware that you can do that. And I do that on a pretty regular basis because some things I don't need it to keep track of. But then if I go back to a brand new chat again, I'm back to where it can keep track of memory. Now, let me refer to what I mean by that. If you go to the top right, there is a more options menu, the dot, dot, dot. When you click on that, you can go to recent pages. You could go into scheduled prompts, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. But I want to go into the settings. Because in the settings, you have different settings that you can change depending on, of course, what it is that you need. But you can do shared links and you can manage those links if you're sharing links to a conversation you had with ChatGPT or with Copilot. That you want to share with a coworker. You can personalize things, which is what you really want to think about doing, because you can be entering in custom instructions, which is giving it more information about you and how you want your Copilot to be responding to you. You can put in information on your work profile, and you can turn on or turn off saved memories. You can even click on the link to get into manage save memories, and you have the ability of deleting out your chat history if you wanted to. But these are things you definitely want to consider doing. You know, if you don't have the save memories turned on, it's not going to memorize some things about you. Like for me, if I'm going out and saying, you know, my company name is, and I'm always referring to it, and I say that we are an accounting firm that works with small businesses out of this specific region. As I use that over and over again, what Copilot is doing is saving it in that memory so it can reuse that information where we don't have to continuously be typing all that information in. So the more you can fill out on this personalization information, the better the system is going to be on responding to you and having that memory turned on. So if those things will be helpful to you, definitely come in and make changes to those. But let's get back to the app itself and go through a few demonstrations. So when it comes to actually using the Copilot app, the app you can access from a lot of different places, as you'll see as we go directly through different app like Excel, Word, Outlook, etc. But the benefits of using Outlook, I could have 20 slides giving you different benefits, but it is definitely a unified space that you can actually use across all of your 365. And it has seamless integration to all of your other apps, whether you're in a SharePoint document library, Outlook, etc. And it's prompt driven. The results that we're getting from the prompts that we put into the system are really here to help us get information quicker and easily at our fingertips. And the content creation and the collaboration that it does goes way beyond the content, or I should say, goes way beyond the capabilities that sometimes we just don't have. Plus, there's Copilot labs that we can actually be using that are built into the system, along with agents that could even help us further, depending on what it is that we are looking for information on. Because sometimes we don't know what to even be asking the system about our document or writing an email or whatever the case might be. But keep in mind that features available within Copilot, like audio overviews of your Word documents, or it can look at spreadsheets of information and run reports. It can generate pivot tables and charts. It's going to have to analyze that data to be able to do some of these things. So keep in mind that it is secure. So you don't have to be worrying about your data being leaked to any other organization or anything. Okay, so we talked briefly about toggling the icon at the top for work versus web. If you wanted to be searching for information out on the web, you definitely want to go to that arena. Otherwise, have it be on work if you wanted to be searching through your information within your 365 account. Like an example would be, what if I'm actually looking for a specific document? I'm looking for information that is related on my system that I have someplace. I could be coming out here to Copilot and asking it, do I have a recent document that refers to court cases? I could be asking the system that. Now, could I narrow it down and say what the case was about, give the case number, anything like that? 100% yes. I used to use the search within File Explorer a lot. I don't do that as much anymore because Copilot is smarter and Copilot's easier. And the way that it presents the results of what you're searching for when it comes to finding a document, there's no match between File Explorer and Copilot. So I just asked it, do I have any recent documents in my files that refer to court cases? Look what it came back with. It's got acceptable use of AI, and it gives me the date, what it refers to. It's got this document. It's got prep for court document, this contextual document use, or legal documents, use documents, I should say. It's giving me links to all these files. So it's giving me a summary of the document, when the document was created, and the best part is I could click on the link to actually get directly to that document. We just cannot get that type of information out of File Explorer. So that being a demonstration of something that I use every single day in Copilot. 100% I do that every single day because I do not want to have to go search myself, which, by the way, if you, just so you know, do I have to be in my Copilot app to do that search? The answer is no. I could actually go to a SharePoint document library. So let me just go to one so that you can see what I'm referring to. So I could go directly to a SharePoint document library and have it automatically have a search at the top where I could be searching within the contents of that SharePoint site. But I wanted to look in a specific I wanted it to look wherever my documents are, not just a specific document library. I don't want it to just look in this SharePoint site, in this document library. If I do the search at the top, it's only searching this library. Back at the Copilot app, it's searching everywhere. It's searching my OneDrive, my SharePoint, my Microsoft Teams, and it's not just looking at one document library, it's looking at anything that I have rights to. And that's what you got to keep in mind. If you don't have rights to it, Copilot doesn't either, because Copilot will not be able to get back to that. But what if we need to draft a review or a summary of a document that we have? So let's say that you have a document that was a policy or a procedure that you need Copilot to summarize for you. Can I do that right within the Copilot app? The answer is yes, you could. Because technically I could, and I'm going to go to a new chat because it's a new topic. I could go to the chat, I could click on the plus sign, I could add the actual file. So I don't even have to open the file. I could go out and search my computer. And just so you could see, I'm going to just search here and I'm going to say policy. So I'm looking for a specific policy that I want it to find. Maybe I better give it a little bit more information. I'll just say governance policy. And I want it to be able to go out to those policies, and I want it to be able to take that policy and be able to summarize it for me. So if I just choose a policy that's a Word document, I can ask Copilot to summarize this document for leadership to make sure it is complete and follows company standards, which I could include our company standards if I had a document that I wanted it to review and make sure that this actually follows our company standards. I could say look for risks or other details. I'll just do that just to give you an idea of how quick and easy Copilot can do this. Now, could I do this myself? Sure. Let's say that it's a 14-page document. I could start skimming through that document, doing some highlighting, putting in comments and questions, and manually do it. But it's amazing what Copilot can do with that document instead. So below is an executive ready summary and governance review. So it went through and it gives the summary at the top, and then it says what the policy covers well. Here's the governance structure, the compliance security, the AI use, the life cycle management, etc. It's going through all of that and pinpointing it all for me and really giving me the separation of every time that I need this, it can really detail out everything that it finds within that document and the recommended next steps. So what if I need to write an email to be sent to leadership about this document for them to review? I want Copilot to write an email for me that I can send to leadership about this document, that I'm going to include the document, etc. Copilot can do those kind of things directly for us. And I could be doing it right here in Copilot. And at the bottom, I have a copy icon that I could use. Once I copy it, I could actually go to Outlook. And let me slide my Outlook window over here so you can see what I'm doing here. And I could go in directly into Outlook, and I either could draft the letter here, or if I already did it in the Copilot app, I can just paste it here. Now there's some little cleanup things I need to do, but you can see that I could just go ahead and paste this. I would put this in the subject line. I would get rid of this. I need to fill in the blank because I did not tell Copilot what the names of the people were, but I have a little bit of cleanup that I need to do. Now, could I have done the same thing directly here in Outlook? Absolutely. I could have created a new file. So, or I should say a new email. I could have gone to where when I'm in a new email, I get Copilot right here, right at my fingertips all the time. And I could say draft, and then I could tell it what it is that I want it to draft. And I want it to write an email to a client for more information about their property and their beneficiaries, or I'll just put in something real quick here just so you could see how quick and easy it can go ahead and do that. Now, like I said earlier, though, am I going to keep this word for word? I could keep it. I could discard it. I could make it shorter, make it longer. I could say change the tone and I want it to be very formal. It can go back and do all of that. It gives you suggestions along the way to help get it to where you would say, okay, this is good. I want to keep it. Now, do I keep it exactly the way that it came out of Copilot? Absolutely not. I still need to go back and put my own spin on it. I needed to make sure that it has, the polished guidance of our organization. How do we want to be addressing the client and things like that? So I still need to make changes to it, but it can help me to write and get me going where I don't have to manually be doing this all the time. Now, if you think about it, Copilot, so far I showed you how I could be doing some things directly in the Copilot app. Now, what if I actually go and open that Word document? If I go back and actually open that Word document, that was that policy that I was into here a few minutes ago. Let me go back into that policy here and open it directly as an email, or I'm sorry, as a Word document. I was going to open exactly that same one, but let me just open up this one real quick just to kind of show you. I could actually be in a policy, or this happens to be a meeting that we had, and whatever it is, I could go to the Copilot app, which in all of your major applications is available right on the home tab of the ribbon. Once you click on Copilot, it can analyze your current document, and I might say something like, summarize this document and let me know key points, any risks, follow-up tasks, etc. So whatever it is that I want it to pull out of, whatever the document is, we can be asking Copilot to do those kind of things for us. So we don't have to be in just one space to do that. I could be in Copilot no matter where I am, because when you're in Copilot, like right now, I'm in Copilot in Microsoft Word. I could be doing anything. I could be going to the top and saying, I wanted to look at my documents, or I could be saying, look at the web. And if I wanted to go to the web and look up information, write a letter to a new client to welcome them to our firm. And I'm not going to say the name of the firm, but I could because I'm looking at the web. It won't matter. I could fill in the blanks. So I'll just say something like that. Do I have to do that here in Word to have it right here in Word? No, I could have done that out in the Copilot app. I could have done it in PowerPoint. I could have done it in Excel, because it's the same exact Copilot window, no matter where it is that you go. So if I'm in Outlook, yes, I could have suggested prompts that are going to be, summarize my emails and different things. But I got to tell you, doing things like this, I do it in the Copilot app itself. I do it directly here in Microsoft Word. It doesn't really matter where you're at, because it can end up in a Word document or in an email, whatever it is that you might need. So you can see that it has automatically given me my response, where it's showing me, here, dear client, welcome to the firm, and it's got fill in the blank type features. If I want to keep that, if I want to actually use it, you could see down at the bottom that I could actually be going to this copy, and then I could actually put it in a document. Now, if I needed more information, or I wanted to actually take this even further, or I wanted to modify something here, let's say that you had a letter that your organization actually wrote 5 years ago, or whatever the case might be. And now you're wondering, you know what? I don't know if this sentence or this paragraph sounds right. Maybe I want Copilot to help me rewrite this. We could select content, click Copilot, and then ask it to do an auto rewrite. We could say update, keeping format. We could structure and refine it, make it shorter, make it more professional. We have all these suggestions of what Copilot could do as soon as you select text within a document. So I'm going to say auto rewrite this, because this paragraph wasn't sounding the way that I wanted it to. I want it to give me some suggestions on how it could be. And notice at the top, it rewrote it and gave me 3 different examples. So I can actually scroll at the top here with these arrows to look at 3 different examples. If I want to replace what I had with one of these examples, all I have to do is be on the one that I want, click replace, and it's going to automatically replace it. So Copilot for all of these different types of actions. I can have it help me write in Microsoft Word to create a document. I could have it help me rewrite an existing document, whether that document is a formal letter to a client or whatever it is. It can help you with part of it or all of it. We can have it be more modern, because some of the things I got to say in what I have, even for my policies and my procedures, I review them once a year, and I want to make sure that they're matching up with the current standards. So I might need it to do some research to make sure that the governance policy that we're helping with our client to write, that is going to match up with where things are now. Especially like if you were going to be helping an organization write an AI policy or an IT policy for your company, those types of things, we really have the capability of being able to take advantage of using Copilot for these. So let me just give you an example. If I want to take this agent's use policy, and I want it to search the web to have it help to see, is this current information? I could actually go to Copilot here in Microsoft Word. I could go to the top left, which is the Copilot navigation pane, and I could choose to use what is called an agent. And this agent that I'm going to use is called the researcher, where the researcher agent can really be used to help you research information. So what do I want it to research? Well, this is an assistant to Copilot, and I want it to research, oops, I have to spell this correctly. Sorry about that. I want it to research information on current policies for AI use in legal firms. I'll just stick with that for right now and show you what it can come up with. So by using an agent, it's like an assistant to Copilot. So yes, I'm using Copilot, but I'm using this built-in agent called Researcher that does a deeper analysis and deeper research on the web for whatever it is that we're prompting it to do. So it dives deeper than regular Copilot could do. Now, I use things like this. By the way, it said, got it. You're looking for research on current policies, blah, blah, blah. So it's asking me to choose the length. Do I want it to be short? Do I want it to be long? I'm going to say I want it to be short. And then I want it to focus on U.S. internal firm policies, etc. I'll give it a little bit more detail. So just so you know, it can automatically go out there and do that for me. So I also use these agents in other applications like Microsoft Excel. So if I'm in Excel and I have some employee information and I need to find out which employees have the highest salaries based on this type of a position, I could actually be asking that of Copilot without having to analyze this information myself. Now, of course, when it comes to using Copilot in Excel, it doesn't matter if you have accounting information, you have HR information, whatever it happens to be, Copilot is right available on your home tab of the ribbon. So let's say that I wanted to analyze this entire workbook to give me some interesting data sites, or I just want to ask it a question about this employee department's information. Which employees have the highest salary that are in the sales department? Just so you can see, I don't have to create a pivot table, a filter, etc., to try and find that information, because what if I'm in a meeting and I just need to know this quick? I could actually have this open and just ask the questions directly to Copilot. So Copilot can be taken advantage of for so many different things. I could even say, write a summary of this worksheet called employee departments that can be shared with the executive committee to see where we could be cutting down on expenses. Whatever it is that I want it to do, it can go out and do that. So these prompts that you're giving to Copilot can be very important to be able to get the right information to come back out. Because the better the prompt that you give the system, the better the results are going to be. So you can take advantage of Copilot in a lot of different places. But I got to go back to Outlook here for a minute, because before we run out of time, because there are so many things that, as a service industry, no matter what industry you are in, I use Copilot every day, all day long. So my habits at the beginning of the day is I open up Outlook, I open up Teams, and I open up my Copilot app. I'm in those three all day long. Now, I have gotten smarter with this, and I am having Copilot be even more of an assistant to me, which I'll show you an example in just a minute. But what if I'm on an email that has been a conversation going back and forth with multiple people, blah, blah, blah. It's got all this information. So if I have this email that I click on that has all of this conversation going on, it was with a client that I was working on because I'm doing their taxes right now for this past year, and I just need a summary of where we are at, and are there any follow-up activities that I need to know? I can ask Copilot to summarize it. Just by going to the right-hand side of the reading pane, clicking on the shortcut at the top, Summarize by Copilot, it's going to scan through that conversation and automatically summarize the entire thing for me. So I can't say enough about using Copilot to do these things for me, because otherwise it could take me 50 minutes to scan through and figure out what this email conversation string was all about. So we could be using Copilot in so many different ways. But I want to talk a little bit more about things that you do on a regular basis. Because what if you every day go out to Copilot, and let me jump back into the app itself here real quick. So let's say that every day you come out to Copilot and you need to give it a specific prompt. Did you know that you can actually schedule a prompt? There could be a prompt that you use on a daily basis that you could actually be using every day and even schedule it. Now, by the way, you have a ton of examples in your handout for drafting using Copilot, reviewing and summarizing those examples like I've been showing you. Also improving your client communications, summarizing long emails. There's examples throughout your handouts for all of this, including some Teams and Excel summarization as well. But I want to talk about how we could use the Copilot app every single day to be asking it specific questions, like summarizing meetings that I have coming up today. So let me just show you an example. Let's say that every day I come into Copilot and I need to have Copilot summarize my meetings for today and what I should prepare Maybe I might even say for this week or whatever the case might be, and I'm coming in here and I'm doing this every single day. These are things that you could be using to start your day. Every single day you could get this. Now, what if you start your day at 8 o'clock every day and you have this prompt that you do in Copilot every day to ask it, what do I need to focus on today? Or I'm asking it things like, scan through my emails. Is there anything that should be on my high priority list? Anytime that you have these types of prompts that you're going to do on a regular basis, you really have two choices to automate those. I highly recommend this. So one of them, I'm going to show you an example of this and while this is preparing my meetings and different things. But just so you know, I'm going to go to the left-hand side and I'm going to click on this daily agent. I created an agent that can actually give me suggested prompts every single day that I can use. So whenever I want to use this, I click on the name of the agent and I created these prompts. And if I wanted to be looking at my meetings today, I wanted to summarize chats and channels coming from Microsoft Teams. I'm always needing to know what new employees have been entered into the system or whatever information it is you're looking for. You could create a daily agent that you come into and you click on to have it automatically give you those prompts that you need. Now, this is something that you manually have to open the agent and then click on the prompt that you saved. So it's telling you, here's what you have, blah, blah, blah. But how did this agent get created? Well, I went to the left-hand side, clicked New Agent, and I gave it a description of what I wanted it to have because Copilot can create the agent for you. Or you can manually create it by giving it a name and giving it the instructions and then adding in at the bottom what prompts you want it to give as suggestions so that when you say create the agent, you can have that agent on the left-hand side. You click on it, you click on the prompt you want it to use, and you could be doing that every day or, 3-4 times throughout your day. You can use that. Now, for some reason, it's giving me an error right now. I'm going to go into that daily agent one more time here real quick. Oh, it doesn't like me to do that. So let me go to this one instead. So this one I have, it's called Jolene's Plan My Day Agent, where it's kind of the same thing, but I wanted to do an email summary of all my inbox messages. Are there things that I haven't followed up on that I need to do? When you create that agent, you just enter those in the prompt area. It's super easy to use, and this is something anyone can create. You don't have to be in IT to do it. It can automatically be something you personally create. So let me just show you the edit side of this on how I created this. I'm sorry, it's having some type of an issue right now, so I guess I won't do that right now. But just so you can see that it automatically can give you these prompts that you could use. Now, trust me, it's a wonderful tool. I do use it every day. But what if I'm actually doing a prompt on a regular basis, but I want it to be delivered to my inbox every day? I could actually create a new prompt. And let's say that every time I come in, let me go to a new chat here. And let's say that I wanted to automatically look at my emails and let me know what I need on my radar and what is on my calendar for today and tasks that I should be focusing on. So let's say that this is a prompt that I want to give to Copilot every day, and maybe I want to do it at the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, and at the end of the day. You can schedule a prompt. So you can have it automatically email you when that prompt is delivered to your inbox. I have been using this for quite a few months now, and I absolutely love it. So first, it's giving me my results. So later today, I have this in the high priority category. Here's a very high priority. Here's my inbox of things that I haven't read yet, things that should be on my radar, whatever prompt it is that I gave it. If you want to do that prompt on a regular basis, at the very bottom where you have your copy, your thumbs up, that kind of a thing, go to this dot, dot, dot menu. Then what I want you to do, oops, sorry, I'm going to go to this. Why is it not giving me this option? It's giving me open in Word. Where is my option? I'm having some weird things happen in my Copilot right at this moment. I apologize, but let me show you what's normally, and it's in your handout, by the way. You would click on that drop down and save this as a scheduled prompt. Let me show you what this means. At the top right, when you go to the menu, click Settings, where I was showing you earlier. You could go to the left-hand side, go into, now for some reason I'm not getting my option here for my scheduled prompts. Yeah, I definitely have something weird going on. I'm going to close it and reopen this real quick just to see if I could get this, because I want you to see what the scheduled prompt looks like. There it is. So I was having something weird. I apologize. So if I go to the top and I click on the scheduled prompts, it would show me any prompts that I currently have scheduled. And I could go back in and I could delete them. I could edit them, but I don't have any created right now. But if I go back to an earlier one, let me see if it will show me how to do this now. From this drop down, I'm going to click schedule this prompt. And I want it to start on this day at this time. And I'll say at 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. And I wanted to do it every day but Saturday and Sunday. And I want it to run 15 times, and I want it to email me. I'm going to click save. This has now been saved, and I'm going to get an email notification letting me know that that prompt is ready. I can click on a link right in the email, and it will automatically show me those prompts. So let me show you what it looks like in, sorry. Here's my scheduled prompt. So this is what the email is going to look like in Outlook. So hi, Jolene, here's your scheduled prompt. You can click on the link to get to the answers of that scheduled prompt. Or you could go directly into Copilot to get it as well. But I like getting that email because I'm always so busy, especially at the beginning of the day. So I use Copilot to start my day every single day. One way I can do it is by doing an agent, where I could build the suggested prompts that I want, that I just click on the one that I want it to run and it's automatically going to run it. Or I could do those scheduled prompts so that those scheduled prompts are automatically going to deliver you an email on the days and times that you tell it you want to receive it. I have been using both. I love them both equally, but they have saved me so much time and energy on manually having to do these myself. Not that I can't, not that it's difficult, but if I'm asking it the same things every day, why don't I just have it automated? It's much easier to have things automated. But you're going to find throughout your handout that there are going to be a lot of different options for you to be using that are examples that fit within, depending on the services that your company provides, but it's going to fit within you being able to see some examples of how you could actually use Copilot. Daily routines are definitely something that you want to get into because it's going to give you quicker, easier answers to the questions that you're asking on a very regular basis. So Copilot is your assistant. These scheduled prompts, these agents that you can use now in Copilot, which are available in several other apps as well, they are just an assistant to Copilot. So your assistant can have an assistant as well, because I know we all have repeated things that we do. So Copilot needs to be used appropriately. It's going to be able to help you improve your productivity, consistency, your collaboration, so that you can really keep what it needs to be your focus You can spend more time doing that. Let Copilot do what Copilot does best. Okay. So, in summary, Microsoft Copilot is here to help you really streamline what you are doing in your 365 apps. Whether it's Microsoft Word, you're using Excel, you're using Outlook, the Copilot app, your SharePoint document library, more and more is being added and easier things for us to use within those applications. So, Matthew, I'm going to send it back to you. Did we have any other questions that came up from the audience at all?